Hi friends, it's Katie from Katie Sees Cards. I'm coming at you today with a homesick from work video. I had another silly injury. On Monday, I wound up needing to get 20 stitches in the back of my heel, and now I'm on a boot and crutches because of a wonderful school gate in the school parking lot. Thank you much. But I'm coming at you today with a video, this giant basket of tarot decks, to explain something that I'm doing this season. It's called the Drop 'em 78 Challenge. I will put the link to the person who's running it and her information below, but I want to just walk you through some decks that I've been looking at and sort of the agony of my last couple of weeks and show you the pairing that I wound up with. All right, so the idea behind the Drop in 78 challenge, it's something that I'm doing as a part of a Mindful Tarot cohort. That cohort is run by an amazing lady named Esther Tishman, and she is at Mindful Tarot on YouTube. I found her channel the last time I was home with the beautiful hand surgery recovery, and so I listened to a lot of her stuff and wound up doing like a whole binge of it and joining the Mindful Tarot cohort certificate program, which has been a ton of fun. And part of what we're doing is between October 15th and December 31st, we are picking one deck and we are going through it card by card, one card a day. And these were my initial top 5. So I have the Shadowlands Tarot, I have the Silver Witchcraft, the Tarot of Mystical Moments, the Fae, and the Nicoletta Ciccoli. Let's take a look at them. So the Shadowlands is one that I bought a while ago and I haven't really worked with, but when I did my deck interview, this one had so much to say, and it still does. And it still kind of hurts me that I'm not working with this one because I had picked this one. And we get to use something called a side piece. So for my side piece, I had narrowed it down to 2 things. The Curious Creatures Tarot by Chris Ann, and my first edition, This Might Hurt Tarot by Isabella Rotman. Wanted to make sure I got her name right. So look at how fun these would have been together. So the idea was I would work through the Shadowlands deck one card at a time, and then I could choose a clarifying card from one of these 2 decks. I could look at either apples to apples, like Page of Wands to Page of Wands, or I could look apples to oranges, looking Page of Wands, whatever the card is, to just something random that came up. I really liked the color combination of these. I really liked the energy. You guys know that the Tarot of Curious Creatures is one of my favorites. It's a deck I thought I would really hate. I don't like the anthropomorphic animals, but it's just a fun one. It's a great reader. It's been on my reading table for a long time. I get this world card all the time. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to do just like a straight rider with Waite Smith deck for my calibration, so let's pick something fun. And I really liked the colors. I like the colors together, big and bold. In case you wanted to see a straight comparison between the other deck I was thinking about working with, the This Might Hurt Tarot was one of my early favorites in terms of an RWS style deck. I love the colors. I love the diversity in the people. I love the card stock. I love everything about this deck. And for a while, this was my like trusty sidekick. Like this went on vacation with me. This went everywhere with me. So I thought that this one would be fun to pair with the Shadowlands. Again, a nice contrast of art style, a nice contrast of color. Another top contender and a deck I've been meaning to work intensely with for a while is the Tarot of Mystical Moments. This is a beautiful collage deck. It's very intuitive. There's enough overlap between the imagery of this and the traditional Rider-Waite Smith that it's not that much of a stretch. And so one of the decisions I had to make in this challenge is, do I want to really stretch myself as a reader, or do I want to just do a deck study? And for me, part of the purpose of joining the Mindful Tarot certificate program was to stretch myself as a reader. I've been doing tarot on and off since I was about 8 years old, and it came back to me hard during the pandemic. Beautiful. So I kind of want to push myself. And I thought this might be the deck. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Another deck that was vying for my heart and my attention during this challenge is the Silver Witchcraft Tarot. I love the colors. I love the energy. This one's been incredibly intuitive. Like when I read with this one, I don't even have to look in the guidebook. I don't spend any time thinking about the cards. It's like I look at it and I see it and I know what it means. I have multiple copies of this deck, and it's got a really amazing full-size, full-color guidebook. I know that part of the Drop in 78 challenge is to start working with initially the definition. Like, what does this card mean? So pulling, for example, the Knight of Wands, and then just listing initially what comes up for you, both the things that you know and like looking from the guidebook. So I like that there is a reflection, and I like that this one is pretty simple. I do like a good guidebook. In a similar vein, I have the Fae Tarot. This is another one that I purchased the full-size guidebook for. This is a great guidebook because it's got an advanced meaning. It's got information about the images. It's got reflection questions. And then something that I like in a guidebook, I always want to know about the symbols. Like, if you made the art this way, why did you choose to make it this way? What are the things? Why do they mean what they mean to you as the creator? So this one, it's got kind of a little bit of everything. The definitions for the minors are, again, a little bit shorter, but I like the symbols, right? The English major in me wants to know about the symbols and like why, if you deviated in some way, like what was the reason? What were you thinking? I like that this is a mass market deck. I can beat this one up. I can treat this one rough. I can carry it around in my purse. I can order a second copy if I need to. So this one is like my one that got away. A spoiler, I didn't wind up choosing this one, but yesterday morning we kicked off the challenge at noon, and about 11:30 I was still waffling, which deck am I going to choose? I actually put this deck in order thinking I might use it. Ultimately, I did not choose this deck, and I woke up this morning still thinking about it. So there's something here. I like the sweetness. I like the fantasy. I like the fae energy. The colors are beautiful. The characters are really unique. I like that it's just a, kind of a mass market deck that I don't have to worry about keeping nice. Not that I'm that hard on my cards, but I'm going to be working with this one for 78 days in a row, my friends. That's a lot. Anyway, the Fae, still with me. So last but certainly not least is this little beauty, the Nicoletta Ciccoli Tarot. Prior to entering the challenge, I thought, hey, this is one I've been meaning to study. I know it's not going to be that easy. My husband and I joke about this one as my creepy girl deck. My readings with this have been really deep and very hard at times. So when I was doing my deck interview and kind of asking this deck for guidance, she promised that she would hold me in love through the things that are going to be coming. And she promised to make me laugh if I don't take her too seriously. But then there's stuff like this. Like, I don't know if this is what I want to be in my headspace for the next 78 days. There's a lot of really I love for these, like the queens, how the animal of their element is kind of coming out from underneath their skirts, and they don't have any legs. There's like nothing there. There's a lot of like images in this deck of eating, like consuming yourself. Here's another one with the fish. She has legs. Like, look, she's eating the lollipop, and you can tell that the pop is not very excited about that. Or here, like you can see the fear, you can feel the emotion in this deck. It's I was afraid it was going to be too much. I mean, imagine that. That's your card of the day, the Ten of Swords. You've cut into your own cake. But there's something really haunting about this one. I've been meaning to study it. I haven't been able to, kind of get away from thinking like, I know her time is coming. And so my top two contenders for a while going into the challenge were the Chicoli and the Tarot of Mystical Moments. My thought process behind that is that these would be the most academic, and these might push me the most in terms of growing my skills as a reader. All right, so after a lot of agonizing, I had actually told someone online I was committing to this one. I was ready to go with the Shadowlands, and I was excited to share what I was learning with them. And I changed my mind at the last minute. So with the help of this amazing, beautiful, powerful pendulum, I asked the question of each deck, which one is going to be the best one for me in terms of growth and looking at forward growth. I've learned recently that sometimes when you're talking about the past, we kind of navel gaze. And the thing I've noticed is that like there's a lot of old stories that come up. And I don't know that I really want to go into those old stories anymore. Recently in therapy, I learned that I can recognize when an old story is coming up, and I can choose to close the book and just put it back on the shelf. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like I want to talk about going forward, and I want to look at moving forward. So at the end of the day, this beautiful girl was the one that chose me for this challenge. I do still worry a little bit about it being too hard or making me cry. It's probably going to make me cry. But that's the power of a good deck. So I have the mini, and something that I can carry around in my purse if I want, take to work with me when I'm back. And for my side piece, after a lot of agonizing, I chose a deck that I don't really work with very much, which is the Conrad Stein version of the RWS deck from Make Playing Cards. I love the colors of this. I love the cardstock. I really like this crackle stuff. It brings a dimensionality to the cards that doesn't exist, and yet I never work with it. It's just been sitting around. Earlier in the program, we were learning Tarot de Marseille, and so we were advised to have like a standard RWS and then just a standard like Marseille deck available. And so this was right next to my desk, so I can grab it because I never use it. And I don't know, this spoke to me as the one to use in this challenge. So what I'm going to do is I'll be calibrating each day. I can pull either, like I said, the same card from each deck and talk about the comparison or what I notice that's different, or like energetically how they feel, or I can pull just a random card and sort of triangulate between what I know about those two cards and what I'm seeing about them in comparison on that particular day. Again, I'm a librarian now, but it makes my English teacher heart really happy to think about synthesis. And this is a really nice example of real life synthesis where I'm pulling from different sources, and I am, for example, just comparing, and I'm looking at maybe like, how does this Five of Cups inform my understanding of I think this is the King of Wands. The kings and the queens in this deck are a little bit hard to tell apart, so that's okay. Another thing that's going to be a challenge about this deck is that it's got a tiny little book. And you know me, I like a big book. I like a book that's got some detail, and I like a book that I can reference, and maybe I just carry the book around and I look at the pictures. The thing about this little white book is that it's actually pretty good. Like for the size of the book, it's good. I like that it's got key concepts and it's got like a message that's directed straight to me, right? Your allies and companions will see you through any dangers. I like that it's addressing me as the querent. There's some help with the symbols. Again, the queen and the king, I think I'll get used to it, but I have a hard time telling them apart. So I'm really going to have to focus on what I know and what my intuition tells me and kind of come up with my own shit. And I think that is really going to push me. So without further ado, thank you so much for listening to this long video and taking a look at all my decks. I am still really stuck on the Fae. I was actually talking with someone on Facebook about how I might do like a second Drop 'em 78 just with this one. But I don't know if that's going to be too much work. This was a card I got right before I decided to put this one down. Like the Ten of Swords, this fairy is like dissolving and the sword is broken. So it's like it's just time to give up that fight. I don't know if making this one my daily reader is going to scratch that itch or not. But there's like something here with the Fae that I just can't get out of my head. So anyway, lots of great decks, lots of things I want to be working on in the next few months. Thank you so much for watching. I am at the end of my 30-minute little meditation candle, and I don't want to keep you any longer. So have a great time and do some work with your own cards, and let me know what you think of my choices. See you in the next one.